Maya-chan had memorized the pattern of her desk's wood grain by October. Third row, second seat from the window at Riverside High, a spot meant to be unremarkable. She'd chosen it deliberately during the first week of sophomore year, calculating angles of visibility, proximity to exits, distance from the teacher's focal point. Invisibility required geometry. But invisibility, she'd learned, was a privilege revoked without warning. It started with a laugh. Not the kind that erupts from joy, but the manufactured sort, sharp, performative, designed to cut. Maya had just answered Mr. Patterson's question about the French Revolution, her voice steady despite the flutter in her chest. She'd studied for hours the night before, highlighting passages about Robespierre and the Reign of Terror until her mother knocked on her door at midnight, whispering that rest was learning too. The answer was correct. Mr. Patterson nodded, even smiled. Then Brittany Ashford laughed. It wasn't loud. Just 3 notes of derision from the back corner, where Brittany held court with her constellation of followers. Madison Cross with her perfect highlights, Tyler Kent, who played varsity everything, and Jenna Ramirez, who'd once been Maya's lab partner before ascending to the untouchable tier. Mr. Patterson continued the lesson. The laugh faded into the rustle of papers and clicking of pens. But Maya's hands had gone cold. She knew that laugh. She'd heard variations of it in middle school, before her family moved to Riverside, before she thought a fresh start meant actual freshness. That laugh was a flag planted in hostile territory. A declaration. You don't belong here. The bell rang. Maya gathered her books with practiced efficiency, but Brittany's voice carried across the emptying classroom like thrown glass. Wow, so eager to answer. Does she think this is a competition? Madison's reply was buttersmooth. Maybe where she's from, that's impressive. Here we actually have lives. Maya's spine went rigid. She didn't turn around, didn't react, just kept walking, each step measured, refusing to hurry, even as laughter, real laughter now. Multiple voices bubbled behind her. The hallway swallowed her into its current of bodies. She pressed her books against her chest and navigated toward her locker, suddenly aware of how her warm backpack zipper had broken last week, how her jeans were from Target's clearance rack, how the other girls carried leather bags that cost more than her mother's monthly grocery budget. Don't cry. Not here. Not where they can see. Her locker was 3 down from Brittany's. Of course it was. The universe had a sense of humor about these things. She spun her combination 17, 32, 8 and the metal door swung open. Inside, she taped a photo of her and her younger brother Danny at the beach last summer, both grinning with popsicle-stained mouths. It reminded her that joy existed outside these walls. Hey. Maya flinched. Tyler Kent leaned against the locker beside hers, his Letterman jacket immaculate, his expression unreadable. You really showed off in Patterson's class, he said. Not accusatory, but not kind either. Observational. Maya swallowed. I just answered the question. Right. Tyler's smile didn't reach his eyes. Just keep your head down, okay? Brittany's in a mood, and when she's in a mood... He trailed off, shrugged, walked away. It wasn't a threat. It was a forecast. Maya closed her locker slowly. Down the hall, she could see Brittany surrounded by her friends, all of them beautiful in that effortless way that seemed genetically engineered for high school dominance. Brittany's father was something in finance, managing partner, CEO, one of those titles that meant money and power. Her mother ran the PTA with the efficiency of a military general. Their house had been featured in Riverside Living magazine. Maya's mother cleaned houses, including, occasionally, houses in Brittany's neighborhood. She'd never told anyone that. But somehow, she suspected Brittany knew. The cafeteria at Riverside High operated on an invisible caste system. Tables arranged by unspoken law. Athletes near the windows, where sunlight made them look heroic. Theater kids in the corner by the vending machines, loud and performative. Honor students at the tables closest to the faculty supervision area, as if proximity to authority validated their existence. And at the center, like Queen's holding court, Brittany Ashford's table. Maya bought her lunch. Tuesday's lasagna that tasted like cardboard soaked in. Regret, and headed toward the table where she usually sat with Jordan Hayes and Asio Okoye. Jordan was in robotics club, quiet and brilliant. Asio was a year younger, but mature beyond her grade, the kind of person who listened more than she spoke. They weren't popular, but they were kind. That counted for something. "Did you see Brittany's Instagram story this morning?" Asha asked as Maya sat down. Her voice was low, careful. Maya hadn't. She rarely checked social media before school. Her phone was an old model, perpetually low on storage, and she'd learned that ignorance was sometimes protective. "Don't," Jordan said. But Aisha was already pulling up her phone. The story was a video, 11 seconds long. It showed Mr. Patterson's classroom from the back, taken during Maya's answer about the French Revolution. You couldn't see her face clearly, just the back of her head, her hand half raised. The audio was intact, her voice explaining the fall of the monarchy. The caption read, "When the curve breaker forgets, this isn't debate club." 2,000 views. 43 comments. Maya's throat closed. "That's..." Jordan started, then stopped, searching for words that wouldn't make it worse. "That's just Brittany being Brittany," Aisha finished. "She's threatened by anyone smart." But Maya could read the comments. Most were laughing emojis. Some were worse. "Try hard energy nobody eskedwi. Is she even in honors?" One comment, from an account she recognized as Tyler Kent's, just said, "Awkward." Maya set down her fork. The lasagna congealed on her tray, suddenly impossible to eat. "It's not that bad," Jordan tried. "By tomorrow, everyone will forget." But Jordan was kind, not perceptive. In high school, 11 seconds was enough to build a reputation. And reputations, once formed, calcified into permanence. Maya managed to smile. "It's fine. Really." It wasn't fine. For the rest of lunch, she felt the weight of glances from other tables. Some curious, some amused, some pitying. Brittany's table erupted in laughter twice, though Maya couldn't hear what was said. She didn't need to. When the bell rang, she stood too quickly. Her knee hit the table edge. Her tray tipped. Lasagna slid onto her jeans, a red-orange stain spreading. Across her thigh. The cafeteria went quiet for exactly 3 seconds. Then someone laughed. Then someone else. Brittany's voice carried over the noise. "Oh my God, she's a disaster." Maya grabbed napkins, scrubbing at the stain, her face burning. Jordan and Aisha moved to help, but the damage was done, physical and otherwise. She walked out of the cafeteria with her backpack held in front of her like a shield, hiding the stain, feeling 200 pairs of eyes on her back. In the bathroom, she locked herself in a stall and counted to 100, then 200, breathing slowly, deliberately, the way her therapist had taught her during the anxiety attacks in 8th grade. This is temporary. High school is temporary. Brittany Ashford is temporary. But cruelty, Maya was learning, had a way of making itself permanent. By Wednesday, the Instagram story had evolved into a meme. Someone Maya never found out who had taken a screenshot of her mid-answer, mouth slightly open, expression earnest. They'd added the caption. Actually, according to my research, it spread like wildfire. Instagram, Snapchat, even TikTok. Students Maya had never spoken to recognized her in the hallways. Some laughed outright. Others just stared with that particular brand of teenage curiosity that feels like dissection. Mr. Patterson noticed something was wrong during class on Thursday. Maya had stopped raising her hand. She sat with her shoulders curved inward, eyes fixed on her notebook, writing nothing. After class, he called her name. "Maya, can you stay back a moment?" She approached his desk reluctantly, aware of Brittany and Madison lingering near the door. Pretending to organize their bags. Mr. Patterson's expression was kind but cautious. The look of a teacher who'd seen too many variations of adolescent cruelty to be surprised, but not enough to be immune. "Is everything okay? Your participation has dropped." Maya forced a smile. "Just tired. Lots of homework." He didn't believe her. She could tell. But he couldn't help without specifics, and Maya wasn't about to hand him ammunition that could make everything worse. Teachers who tried to help sometimes painted targets larger. "If you ever need to talk," he said, "my door is open." "Thank you, Mr. Patterson." She left before Brittany could say anything. But Madison's voice followed her into the hall. "Teacher's pet thinks she's special. In calculus." Maya's usual seat front row, left side, had been taken. Brittany sat there instead, smiling sweetly when Maya entered. "Oh, sorry, was this yours? I thought it was first come, first served. It wasn't worth fighting." Maya took a seat 3 rows back. Mrs. Rodriguez didn't notice the shuffle. She was already writing equations on the board, her back to the class. But Brittany turned around once during the lesson, caught Maya's eye, and mouthed, "You're welcome." The shift was strategic. From the back, Maya couldn't see the board as clearly, couldn't participate without projecting her voice, couldn't escape the whispers from the seats around her, Tyler and Jenna, who spent the period passing notes and giggling at intervals precisely timed to Maya's discomfort. After class, Maya found her backpack unzipped. Nothing was missing, but the message was clear. "We can access your things. We can access you." She zipped it closed with trembling hands. Jordan found her at her locker during passing period. "Hey, I saw what Brittany did in calc. You should tell someone." "Tell them what?" "That she took my seat?" "That's not against the rules." "She's targeting you, Maya. Everyone can see it. And what's anyone going to do about it?" Maya's voice cracked despite her attempt at control. "She's Brittany Ashford. Her parents fund half the school's programs. Complaining just makes it worse." Jordan's expression crumpled with frustration and helplessness. "This isn't fair." "No," Maya agreed quietly. "It's not. But fairness, she'd learned, wasn't a consideration in the ecosystem of high school. Power was. And Brittany Ashford had power in abundance. That night, Maya's mother noticed she wasn't eating dinner. Gloria Chun had worked 12 hours cleaning 3 houses, her hands raw from chemicals and scrubbing, her back aching from bent postures and repetitive motions. But she noticed when her daughter pushed rice around her plate without taking a bite. "Maya?" "Not hungry." Gloria exchanged a glance with Maya's father, David Chun, who worked nights at the hospital as a custodian. They were good parents, loving, attentive, sacrificing. But they were also exhausted, stretched thin by the demands of bills and survival. "School okay?" David asked. "Fine." Maya excused herself before they could press. In her room, she opened her laptop and stared at the essay due tomorrow for English class. The Role of Justice in To Kill a Mockingbird. She'd read the book twice, loved it, had pages of notes. But tonight, the words wouldn't come. She thought about Atticus Finch, about courage and standing up for what's right. Then she thought about what happened to Tom Robinson despite Atticus's best efforts. Sometimes courage wasn't enough. Sometimes. The system was rigged from the start. She closed the laptop, lay down, and stared at the ceiling until sleep came in fractured pieces. Friday was Spirit Day. The school encouraged students to wear Riverside High colors, navy blue and silver, to show school pride before the weekend's football game. Maya wore a plain gray hoodie, the closest she had to silver, and hoped to blend into the background. Instead, she walked into first period and found her desk covered in glitter, not artfully sprinkled, dumped. shimmering blue and silver mound that spilled onto the floor, onto her chair, into the crevices of her bag that someone had unzipped and filled. The class went silent. Brittany stood near the window, arms crossed, expression neutral except for the slight curve of her mouth. "Oh no," she said, voice dripping false concern. "Did someone make a mess?" Laughter rippled through the room, nervous, uncertain, but present. Mr. Patterson entered, saw the glitter, saw Maya frozen by the door. His jaw tightened. "Who did this?" No one answered. "This is unacceptable. Maya, take the seat in the back. I'll have someone clean this up." She wanted to refuse, wanted to demand accountability. But Mr. Patterson's tone, though sympathetic, carried the exhaustion of a man who'd fought administrative battles before and lost. Cleaning up glitter was easier than investigating its origin. Maya moved to the back. The glitter clung to her jeans, her hoodie, her backpack. For the rest of the day, she'd sparkle involuntarily, a walking reminder of humiliation. During the lesson, she felt her phone buzz. A text from an unknown number. "Looks good on you." Really brings out the desperation. She didn't respond, didn't react. Just breathed through the tightness in her chest and watched the clock until the period ended. In the hallway, Jordan and Aisha found her scraping glitter off her clothes in the bathroom. "This is insane," Aisha said, her voice shaking with anger. "You have to report this." "To who?" Maya's voice was flat. "Mrs. Henderson?" Mrs. Henderson, the vice principal, was a well-meaning woman who genuinely cared about students but moved through problems, like molasses through winter slowly, cautiously, afraid of causing ripples. She'd start an investigation, Jordan argued, and Brittany would say she didn't do it. Tyler and Madison and Jenna would back her up. And suddenly I'm the girl who can't take a joke, who's making accusations, who's causing drama. Maya met their eyes in the mirror. I'd go from ignored to hunted. The truth of it hung heavy in the small bathroom, because they all knew she was right. Aisha touched Maya's shoulder gently. "We're here, okay? You're not alone." Maya appreciated the sentiment. But as she walked to her next class, glitter still clinging to her skin like evidence of her own powerlessness. She'd never felt more isolated. The football game that night was mandatory for honor students. Some bizarre school policy about demonstrating community spirit. Maya considered skipping, but her parents were excited she'd been invited to something social. And disappointing them felt worse than enduring a few hours in the bleachers. She sat with Jordan and Aisha in the student section, surrounded by the noise of a small-town Friday night. The band played off-key fight songs. Cheerleaders performed routines with aggressive enthusiasm. Under the stadium lights, Riverside High seemed almost magical, a place where belonging was possible. But magic required belief. And Maya's was running out. Halfway through the second quarter, Brittany and her friends arrived, moving through the crowd like visiting royalty. Brittany spotted Maya, paused, then deliberately chose seats directly in front of her. For the next hour, Maya endured a masterclass in strategic cruelty. Brittany and Madison would lean together, whisper, then glance back at Maya and laugh. Tyler, accidentally, spilled soda that splashed onto Maya's shoes. Jenna took photos of the cheerleaders, but angled the camera to include Maya in the background. Unflattering and unaware. Maya said nothing. Did nothing. Just watched the game she didn't understand and counted minutes until escape. During halftime, Brittany turned around fully, her smile razor-sharp. "Having fun, Maya? You look so comfortable here." The emphasis on comfortable was deliberate. A reminder that Maya didn't belong, would never belong, no matter how many games she attended or colors she wore. "Leave her alone, Brittany," Aisha said, her voice stronger than her small frame suggested. Brittany's eyes flicked to Aisha, assessing, then dismissing. "I'm not talking to you," Well, I'm talking to you. Back off. For a moment, tension crystallized, the possibility of escalation of a scene. But Brittany just laughed, light and airy, and turned back to her friends. So sensitive, she said loud enough to carry. Some people can't handle friendly conversation. Jordan leaned close to Maya. You okay? Maya nodded, but her hands were shaking. She tucked them into her hoodie pocket and focused on breathing. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4. The panic management technique her therapist had taught her. The game ended. Riverside won. The crowd erupted in celebration, and Maya used the chaos to slip away. Walking quickly toward the parking lot where her mother was waiting in their aging sedan, Gloria Chun took one look at her daughter's face and knew. That bad? That bad. They drove home in silence, the kind of comfortable quiet that exists between people who've survived hardship together. Gloria reached over once and squeezed Maya's hand. At home, Maya's younger brother Danny was practicing violin in his room, the notes drifting through the thin walls. He was 12, still innocent to the particular cruelties of high school, still believed the world was mostly fair. Maya envied him. She lay in bed that night, staring at her phone. The notifications had continued all day, tags and photos, comments on posts, messages from numbers she didn't recognize. Most were subtle, deniable. Nothing explicitly threatening. Just a steady drip of poison. Why so serious all the time? Maybe smile more. Ooh, no, you're not that smart, right? Naughty. Likes a try-hard, blocked the numbers. Turned off notifications. But the knowledge remained, somewhere out there. People she'd never met were discussing her, judging her, finding entertainment in her discomfort. Her phone buzzed with a text from Jordan. We're in this with you. Whatever happens, Maya typed back. Thank you. But gratitude couldn't stop the cold certainty settling into her bones. This wasn't going to end. Brittany Ashford had decided Maya Chun was a problem. And problems in Brittany's world were eliminated. Not tolerated. Maya just didn't know yet how far Brittany was willing to go. The following week, things escalated. On Monday, Maya's locker wouldn't open. The combination spun correctly, but the mechanism was jammed. The school maintenance worker, a kind man named Mr. Vasquez, spent 20 minutes trying to fix it before cutting the lock. Inside, Maya's textbooks had been rearranged, her photos removed. A note taped to the inside of the door. Maybe try less hard at everything. No signature. No evidence. On Tuesday, Maya received an email from Mrs. Rodriguez asking her to stay after calculus to discuss concerns about academic integrity. When Maya arrived, confused and terrified, Mrs. Rodriguez showed her 2 homework assignments, Maya's and Brittany's, with nearly identical answers. I don't tolerate cheating. Miss Chun, I didn't cheat. Maya's voice was steady despite her hammering heart. I worked on that assignment alone. You can check my notes. Mrs. Rodriguez examined Maya's notebook, covered in handwritten calculations and marginalia, then Brittany's pristine printed pages. Something in her expression shifted recognition, perhaps, or suspicion. I'll look into this further. You're dismissed. Outside, Brittany leaned against the wall, examining her nails. When Maya passed, she said quietly, You're making this harder than it needs to be. I'm not making anything. I'm just existing. That's the problem. On Wednesday, Maya discovered someone had started a rumor that she'd been caught shoplifting at the drugstore downtown. It wasn't true. She'd never stolen anything in her life. But rumors didn't require truth, only repetition. By lunchtime, 3 people had asked her about it. Voices carefully neutral, eyes hungry for drama. I heard you got arrested, a girl from Maya's English class said at the water fountain. That didn't happen. But Brittany said, Brittany is lying. The girl looked uncomfortable. I'm just saying what I heard. That was the insidious beauty of gossip. No one was responsible. Everyone was just saying what they heard, perpetuating cruelty without accountability. On Thursday, Maya's mother received a call from Mrs. Henderson requesting a parent meeting to discuss Maya's social adjustment challenges. Gloria Chun, already stressed from work, arrived at the school with lines of worry etched around her eyes. Mrs. Henderson's office smelled like vanilla air freshener and stale coffee. She smiled sympathetically as Maya and her mother sat across from her massive desk. "Mrs. Chun, thank you for coming. I wanted to touch base about Maya's recent behavior." Gloria frowned. "Behavior? Maya is a good student. What's wrong?" Mrs. Henderson consulted a folder. "We've had several reports from staff and students that Maya has been withdrawn, isolated. There's concern she's not integrating well socially. Someone's bullying her," Gloria said immediately, her accent thickening with stress. "That's why she's withdrawn." Mrs. Henderson's expression became carefully neutral. "We take all allegations of bullying seriously. However, I should mention that we've also received reports that Maya may be struggling with the academic rigor here. Some students have expressed feeling uncomfortable with her intensity in class." Maya's stomach dropped. They'd weaponized her participation, turned her engagement into evidence of problematic behavior. "Who said this?" Gloria demanded. "I can't disclose specific names, but multiple sources. Is one of them Brittany Ashford?" Mrs. Henderson's pause was answer enough. Gloria stood abruptly. "My daughter is being targeted by a girl with connections and money. And instead of protecting Maya, you're blaming her for being smart and working hard. Mrs. Chun, I understand you're upset, but you don't understand anything." Gloria's voice shook. "Maya comes home every day more sad. She doesn't eat. She doesn't sleep. And you're telling me the problem is her?" Mrs. Henderson sighed. "I'm simply trying to help Maya navigate a challenging social environment. Perhaps if she were more flexible in her classroom approach." "Flexible?" Maya spoke for the first time, her voice cold. "You mean silent. You want me to stop answering questions. Stop trying. Disappear so Brittany Ashford feels comfortable." "That's not what I'm saying." "That's exactly what you're saying." The meeting ended badly, with Gloria promising to take this to the superintendent and Mrs. Henderson offering platitudes about supporting all students that rang hollow as tin dot in the car. Gloria cried. Not from sadness, from rage. "This is wrong, Maya. This is so wrong." "I know, Mom. You can't let them win." But Maya was beginning to wonder if winning was even possible. Brittany had resources, financial, social, institutional. Maya had integrity and intelligence, neither of which seemed to matter when the system was designed to protect the powerful. That night, Maya opened her laptop and did something she'd been avoiding. She researched Brittany Ashford. What she found wasn't surprising, but was enlightening. Brittany's father, Robert Ashford, was managing partner at one of the largest investment firms in the region. His donations to Riverside High were substantial, and public new athletic facilities, technology upgrades, scholarship funds. The Ashford name was on 3 buildings. Brittany's mother, Catherine Ashford, sat on the school board. Of course, Mrs. Henderson couldn't act. Of course, teachers looked away. The entire institution was built on Ashford money, and institutions protect their investments. Maya also found Brittany's public social media carefully curated perfection. Photos from expensive vacations, designer clothes, friend groups that looked like catalog shoots. And mixed among them, subtle digs, posts about earning your place and real talent and people who try too hard. The pattern was clear. Brittany built her identity on being effortlessly superior. And Maya, with her visible effort, her obvious striving, her very existence as someone who achieved through work rather than privilege, was a threat to that narrative. It wasn't personal. It was ideological. Maya represented something Brittany needed to crush. The possibility that hard work and merit could matter more than money and status. Understanding this didn't make it hurt less, but it clarified the battlefield. Maya closed her laptop and pulled out her journal, an old composition notebook where she'd been writing since middle school. She'd filled pages with observations, frustrations, fears. Now she wrote something different. I don't know how to win this, but I know what's true. I'm smart. I work hard. I belong here as much as anyone. Brittany Ashford can take my seat. She can spread rumors. She can make me invisible in every way that matters to high school. But she can't change what's true. I need to remember that, even when it feels impossible. She closed the journal and realized something had shifted in her chest. Not hope exactly, but determination. A hard little kernel of refusal. She'd been trying to disappear, to avoid conflict, to wait out the storm. But storms don't pass when they have a steady supply of fuel. And Maya's silence was fuel. It was time to change tactics. On Friday, Maya walked into Mr. Patterson's class and sat in the front row. Her usual seat. The one Brittany had claimed. Brittany was already there, chatting with Madison. When she saw Maya approaching, her expression flickered with surprise, then hardened. "That's my seat now," Brittany said, her voice carrying authority she didn't legally possess, but socially did. "Actually," Maya said, her voice steady despite her racing heart, "it's not assigned. First come, first served. You said so yourself." The classroom went quiet. Students sensed the shift, the prey refusing to run. Brittany's eyes narrowed. "You're really going to do this?" "I'm going to sit in my seat. Yes." For 3 long seconds, they stared at each other. Madison whispered, "Rid, just let her have it." "It's not worth it." But for Brittany, it was worth it. This was about dominance, not furniture. She stood slowly, gathering her things, her movements deliberate and controlled. As she passed Maya, she leaned close and whispered, "You'll regret this." Then she took a seat 3 rows back, surrounded by her friends. Already recalculating her strategy, Mr. Patterson entered, oblivious to the power dynamics that had just played out. The lesson began. Maya participated actively, answering questions, engaging in discussion, refusing to shrink. It felt terrifying. It felt right. At lunch, Aisha grabbed Maya's arm, eyes wide. "I heard what you did in Patterson's class. That was amazing." "Or stupid," Maya said. "I basically declared war." "You stood up for yourself." "That's not war. That's survival." But Jordan looked worried. "Brittany doesn't lose. She's going to retaliate. Then she retaliates. At least I'm not disappearing anymore." The retaliation came faster than expected. During study hall, Maya received an email from the school newspaper, the Riverside Gazette. She'd submitted an opinion piece 2 weeks ago about the importance of academic integrity and was expecting a standard acceptance or rejection. Instead, the email read, "Dear Maya, we've decided not to publish your submission. The editorial board feels the topic is divisive and could create unnecessary conflict. We hope you understand." Maya's hands clenched. The piece had been thoughtful, well-researched, and completely non-confrontational. But suddenly, it was divisive. She forwarded the email to Mr. Patterson with a simple message. "Can you explain this?" His response came an hour later. "Come see me after school." In his classroom, empty and quiet, Mr. Patterson looked older than usual, tired. "Maya, I'm going to be honest with you. Brittany Ashford is on the newspaper's editorial board. She pushed to reject your piece." "On what grounds?" "She claimed it was a personal attack on her integrity. It never mentioned her name. It was about principles." "I know." He rubbed his face. "Maya, you need to understand something. This school, it runs on politics. Ashford politics specifically. I wish it were different, but it's not. So she gets to control what gets published. She gets to control a lot of things. He met her eyes. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying it's reality. And reality can be brutal for those without leverage. Maya felt something crack inside her. Not break crack. The kind of damage that reveals what's underneath. And underneath her fear, her exhaustion, her desire to simply survive high school was anger. Clean and sharp and clarifying. Then I'll create my own leverage, she said quietly. Mr. Patterson looked alarmed. Maya, don't do anything reckless. I'm not. I'm just done being quiet. That evening, Maya sat at her desk and opened a blank document. She titled it The Invisible Target, a chronicle of systematic bullying at Riverside High. Then she started writing. Everything. The Instagram story. The glitter. The rumor about shoplifting. The academic integrity accusation. The parent meeting. The rejected op-ed. She documented dates, times, witnesses. She included screenshots of messages, photos of her vandalized locker, testimony from Jordan and Aisha. She wrote clinically, factually, removing emotion to let the pattern speak for itself. Because the pattern was clear, a coordinated campaign of harassment, enabled by institutional indifference and social power. She worked until 2 a.m, then emailed the document to herself from multiple accounts and saved copies on a USB drive. This was evidence. This was leverage. The next day, Maya sent copies to Mr. Patterson, to Mrs. Henderson, to the school board secretary, and to her parents. She didn't wait for permission or approval. She just sent it, documenting her experience into the record. The response was immediate and explosive. Mrs. Henderson called another meeting, this time with Gloria Chun, David Chun, Brittany, and both of Brittany's parents present. The conference room felt like a courtroom, tension thick enough to choke on. Robert Ashford looked exactly like Maya expected. Expensive suit, perfect posture, voice dripping authority. This is absurd. My daughter has done nothing wrong. Maya is clearly struggling socially and lashing out. Gloria Chun leaned forward. Struggling? My daughter documented months of harassment. Months of your daughter and her friends systematically tormenting her. Catherine Ashford, polished and cold, smiled sympathetically. Children have conflicts. That's normal. But making accusations like this could ruin Brittany's reputation. I hope you understand the seriousness of what you're suggesting. It was a threat, thinly veiled but unmistakable. Maya spoke up. I'm not suggesting anything. I'm presenting facts. Brittany, who'd been silent until now, turned to her parents with tears in her eyes, real tears, perfectly timed. I tried to be nice to her. I tried to help her fit in. And she's making me sound like a monster. The performance was flawless. Even Mrs. Henderson looked uncertain. Maya, Mrs. Henderson said carefully, bullying is a serious accusation. We need concrete evidence, not just feelings. I provided concrete evidence. Screenshots, dates, witnesses. Screenshots can be faked, Robert Ashford interrupted. And witnesses can be coached. What we have here is a troubled student deflecting responsibility for her own social difficulties. David Chun stood abruptly. That's enough. You don't get to gaslight our daughter because you have money and influence. Mr. Chun, Mrs. Henderson raised her hands placatingly. Let's all stay calm. But calm was impossible. The Chuns saw their daughter being erased in real time, her truth dismissed because it inconvenienced powerful people. The Ashfords saw their daughter's reputation threatened by what they genuinely believed was baseless accusation. The meeting ended with no resolution. Just a promise to investigate thoroughly and a warning to both families to avoid further escalation. Walking to the parking lot, Gloria Chun held Maya's hand tightly. They didn't believe you. I know. What do we do? Maya looked at her mother, this woman who'd immigrated at 20, who'd built a life through endless work, who taught Maya that perseverance mattered. We keep going. We gather more evidence. We find someone who will listen. David Chun put his arm around Maya's shoulders. I'm proud of you, sweetheart. You didn't back down. Didn't work, though. Not yet. But truth has a way of surfacing. Maya wanted to believe him. But as they drove away from Riverside High, she looked back at the building and wondered if truth was enough when power had already written the ending. The thorough investigation Mrs. Henderson promised lasted exactly 4 days and consisted of her interviewing Brittany, Madison, Tyler, and Jenna, all of whom denied any wrongdoing, and 2 teachers who hadn't witnessed any incidents firsthand. Jordan and Aisha were never interviewed. The vandalized locker was dismissed as possibly unrelated mischief. The glitter incident was deemed an unfortunate prank with no clear perpetrator. The Instagram story was a student exercising free speech. The rumors were unverifiable hearsay. Every piece of evidence Maya provided was systematically minimized or dismissed. The final report, delivered to both families, concluded no sustained pattern of bullying was found. However, we encourage all students to practice kindness and respect. Maya Chun would benefit from additional social-emotional support to help her integrate more successfully into the school community. Maya read it 3 times, each time feeling her hope corrode a little more. They turned her into the problem. The victim had become the one needing intervention. Gloria Chun called a lawyer. The consultation lasted 20 minutes before the attorney, a kind woman named Miss Jennifer Morris, delivered the hard truth. Unless there's physical evidence of assault, explicit written threats, or multiple adult witnesses, bullying cases against wealthy families are nearly impossible to win, especially when the school has already documented that they investigated and found nothing. So Brittany Ashford just wins? Gloria's voice broke. I'm saying litigation is expensive, emotionally draining, and unlikely to succeed. Your best option is to either transfer Maya to another school or document everything going forward and hope the pattern becomes too egregious to ignore. Transfer. The word felt like surrender. That night, Maya lay in bed and confronted the truth she'd been avoiding. She couldn't win. Not through official channels. Not through institutional justice. The system was designed to protect people like Brittany, not people like her. But there were other kinds of power, other ways to fight. She thought about her grandmother, who'd survived the Cultural Revolution in China by documenting truth in secret journals that she buried and retrieved later. She thought about her mother, who'd endured racism in her cleaning jobs by keeping meticulous records that she used to negotiate better treatment. Her family knew survival required documentation, patience, and strategic thinking. Maya pulled out her phone and started a private blog, anonymous, encrypted space to tell her story without institutional filter or family name attached. She called it the invisible target. The first post was simple. This is not about revenge. This is about truth. I am a sophomore at a public high school. I am being systematically bullied by a student whose family has significant financial influence over the school. I have tried official channels. They failed. So I'm doing what my grandmother taught me. I'm documenting every incident, every witness, every failure of the adults who should protect students but protect donors instead. This is my record, my testimony, my refusal to disappear. She hit publish at midnight. Within hours, the post had 300 views. By morning, 3,000. People were listening. The blog post went viral in ways Maya never anticipated. Not nationally, Riverside was too small for that, but locally, spreading through networks of students, parents, and teachers in neighboring districts who'd experienced similar dynamics. Comments flooded in. Most supportive, some sharing their own stories. This happened to my daughter at Riverside last year. No one believed her either. The Ashford family controls everything in that school. Thank you for speaking up. I'm a teacher in the district. We see this constantly. We're told not to make waves. Stay anonymous. These people retaliate. That last comment proved prophetic. By Monday, someone had figured out Maya was the author. The blog's analytics showed multiple visitors from Riverside High's IP address systematically reading every post. Screenshotting, cataloging. Brittany confronted her in the hallway before first period. She didn't yell or threaten. She just smiled, a cold, calculating expression that made Maya's stomach drop. Cute blog, Brittany said softly. Very creative. But you should know my father's attorneys are already drafting a defamation lawsuit. Every lie you posted? Every accusation without proof? That's actionable. Maya's throat tightened. I didn't lie. You defamed me publicly. You made me identifiable even without using my name. And defamation against a minor. Brittany leaned closer. That's serious. Really serious. My parents are considering criminal charges. She walked away, leaving Maya trembling in the hallway. At home, Gloria Chun read the blog and immediately panicked. Maya, you have to take this down. We can't afford a lawsuit. I told the truth, Mom. Truth isn't defamation. Truth doesn't matter if we can't afford lawyers to defend it. David Chun looked exhausted. Maybe we should consider transferring schools. Start fresh somewhere else. That's not fair. Maya's voice rose. I didn't do anything wrong. Why do I have to leave? Because sometimes fair doesn't matter, sweetheart. Sometimes survival does. Maya felt something shatter inside her. The realization that her parents, her champions, her protectors were ready to surrender. Not because they didn't believe her, but because they couldn't afford justice. That night, she received an email from an unexpected source. Mr. Patterson. Maya, I read your blog. What you're doing is brave but dangerous. Brittany's family has resources to destroy your family financially. However, I may have another option. There's someone you should meet. Her name is Ms. Eleanor Grant. She's a district administrator who specializes in civil rights compliance. She's been investigating Riverside High for other issues. I sent her your blog. She wants to talk. No lawyers, no parents. Just you and her. If you're interested, reply to this email. Maya stared at the message for a long time. This could be a trap. Or it could be the breakthrough she'd been waiting for. She hit reply. I'm interested. 2 days later, Maya met Ms. Eleanor Grant at a quiet coffee shop 3 towns over. Ms. Grant was a black woman in her 50s, with silver-streaked hair, kind eyes, and an air of someone who'd seen too many injustices to be shocked but still fought anyway. Maya-chan, she said, extending her hand. Thank you for meeting me. They sat in the corner booth. Ms. Grant ordered tea and slid a folder across the table. I've been monitoring Riverside High for 2 years. Financial irregularities, disproportionate disciplinary actions against minority students, suppressed complaints. Your blog, Connected Dots, I've been trying to connect. Maya's heart raced. You believe me? More than that. I have evidence supporting your claims. But I need your help. She opened the folder. Inside were documents, budget reports, complaint records, emails between administrators. The Ashford family doesn't just donate to Riverside. They essentially own it. Robert Ashford is on the board of the foundation that funds the school. His wife is on the school board. And over the past 5 years, at least 20 complaints involving racial bias or wealthy student misconduct have been buried. 20? That we know of. There are likely more. Ms. Grant leaned forward. Maya, If you're willing to testify formally, if you're willing to let your story become part of a federal investigation into systematic civil rights violations, I can protect you legally. But it won't be easy. The Ashfords will fight hard. The school will fight hard. You'll become very public.